Welcome to my talk about K8sGPT and how to gain SRE Superpowers. To be honest, this was one of the first talks I handed in regarding this topic. In the meanwhile, I changed the title finding a bit to also ask ChatGPT for a title for this talk with every talk I give about it. My name is Thomas Schütz, as already announced. I'm the second K8sGPT maintainer, so I was the second developer who worked on the project. In my real life, I'm a cloud native engineer, advocate, and sometimes teaching people how to deal with Kubernetes and how to operate it. Furthermore, I'm a CNCF and CDF ambassador and also co-chair of the tech app delivery in the CNCF. Okay, but first things first. Good morning. Cool. Yes, every open source story starts with some motivation. And for me, the motivation to say yes if Alex asked me if I want to contribute to this project were many things I couldn't do in the past. So I'm a very old systems engineer, so I'm about 25 years in systems engineering and cloud engineering. During this time, I spent a lot of time for troubleshooting, spent nights in front of in data centers, and didn't find problems. So I missed the concert, I missed lots of parties, and I think this doesn't have to be the way we are doing it today. So cloud engineers should have it a bit easier, and we should be able to find Kubernetes issues very fast. And this is also the reason why I'm still contributing to K8sGPT. Okay, what will you hear today? At first, what could go wrong in Kubernetes? I think every one of you has his own story or her own story. I also have some. I will also tell you why human knowledge and the AI might be a perfect fit to fix Kubernetes issues. Furthermore, I will have a second demonstration on how to fix Kubernetes issues with K8sGPT, and I hope it works. And afterwards, I will have a third demo, which will show you how you can use K8sGPT as your 24/7 SRE. Just in advance, I've tried all of the demos. All of my demos are live, and if they fail, trust me, they worked yesterday. Yes. Let's start with my first demo today. I have a typical Kubernetes application, which consists of one front-end service and I think 5 back-end services, and they talk to each other. And I have some problems with this application. So at first, let's deploy it. So at first, this is a typical Kubernetes manifest as we see it in the wild. So we have a namespace, we have services, we have config maps. And now we have it a bit larger. So a thing you would typically deploy. So let's deploy it. And I think the next time I will make the background a bit whiter to make this a bit more friendly. But I think after lunch, this is okay this way. Okay. At first, I deployed my application, so you see I have a lot of services, I have some deployments, I have a namespace, a config map, and so on. If I take a look on my pods, it seems like everything is working perfectly. So I don't see any issue. All of my pods are running. And furthermore, if I go to the website and browse it, I see that nothing works. And this is where every nightmare begins and sometimes where every troubleshooting session begins. So let's get a bit further. We took a look on the architecture picture before, and the first thing we saw, there are 6 services, not 5. So in this case, one pod is missing. The second thing we have is we could take a look on our deployments. And in our case, we see we have 6 deployments, but one of them is not ready. Perfect. So at least we have a good start. We know that the object is applied, but the pod is not coming up. Furthermore, we could take a look on the deployment itself. And in the first step, and without very deep Kubernetes knowledge, we see that it's scaled up a replica set to 1. But we don't see any problem in there. And this is where we get to a point where we have to know Kubernetes for a bit. And just as an example, the following thing took me around 1 to 2 hours, not only once. And where you end up in the end is with a get events. In the namespace. And even in this case, it's very hard to find out what happened. But if you take a closer look here, you see that a service account is missing. And for me, even when developing something, I often reference 2 service accounts because I never use the default service account. And sometimes you make typos. So in this case, if we take a look on on our service accounts, we see that service account potato kubectl is not there, or however it is called. So the only thing we can do to fix this is to fix the manifest here. No, where is it? Sometimes it's case sensitive. And when I remove the service account, so I will delete it to make this a bit faster. And reapply it. So let's take a look at the pods now. Get pods minus n. And now all of the pods should be there. So now we have 6 pods running, and now our service should be running, right? We see that some things in our Potato Head service, so this is a demo application, are running now, but I'm missing one of the things now. So one of my, a bit to describe the application, each body part here is one microservice. It seems like one of my services is still not running, but we took a look at our services and all of them are running, right? So We can also do our K8 services. And I also have all of my services running. So what's wrong here? This was the second case I had sometimes to troubleshoot. In fact, sometimes endpoints are missing. So what we see here, I have my 6 services, but one service of them is without an endpoint. So it doesn't point anywhere. And what was wrong here was where it is. There it is. To make it a bit shorter, every service has a selector. And I have the next typo here. So as I said, this should point to the pods, which are called red legs. And just as a spoiler, they are called red leg. Also took me some hours sometimes. So let's apply this one. And hopefully, we get a complete potato head now. Perfect. So no, the body should not be the problem. Okay, so in fact, I troubleshooted a lot now for very trivial things. In fact, they shouldn't happen, but they happen. So what did we learn from this one? Troubleshooting in Kubernetes can get really cumbersome because we didn't see at the first example that a service account was missing. And if we don't know that between a deployment and a pod is a replica set, then it can take us hours to find out where this is. Furthermore, and as I told you before, we are always troubleshooting the same issues. So even if you fix the problem once, twice, you might be fixing it a third, fourth, and fifth time. In fact, we are able to detect the problems. As you saw before, we know where the problems are. If we know where they come from, we can always also troubleshoot them. And other things we are often having in open source or in projects, we are definitely not the first one, who hit this problem. So what we asked ourselves is, why don't we automate the detection and problem-solving process, and let's do this programmatically. And this was where K8sGPT started. Normally, this is a bit better animated, but in fact, what you see in the problem, the tool evolves very fast. So we had the version 001 at March the 21st. So I think one of the first things we did after the release was to hand in the talk here. Around 1 month later, we were at version 028 and had the first logo change. Ordered stickers and so on. And funny side fact, 1 day after I ordered the stickers for that, we changed the logo another time. So we decided to have 2 logos at the moment. So it might be that you find one in colors and one in blue. We said the one in colors is the alternative logo in the meanwhile, and at some point in time it will be over. Another thing you see here are the GitHub stars of the project. And you see that this evolved very fast. So in fact, we went online, and I think 1 or 2 days after that we had around 700 to 800 GitHub stars. And another funny side fact, 1 day after we released the first version, we had the first fork. And the nice thing, the guy who forked the first time is now also part of the project. Okay, so what is K8sGPT? In the beginning, it was a very simple CLI. You could simply run K8sGPT analyze. You can install it with Brew. In the meanwhile, there are RPMs, Debian packages, APKs, and so on. And we built in some analyzers, and this is the new human knowledge I'm always talking about. So we are trying to find some problem patterns, and they are codified in analyzers. Then we go to the Kubernetes cluster, and K8sGPT tells us that you have a problem. So this was the most simple thing K8sGPT could do. I think this was the state after the first day or similarly. Then it's called GPT. So we have to do something which has to do something with the AI. So we created some kind of AI integration. At first, it was only OpenAI. In the meanwhile, I think it's also Azure AI. I'm not sure how it's called. And local AI. And in the end, it can tell you that you have a problem and how the solution could look like. And this is a thing I want to show you now. So with the same manifest I applied before, let's clean this up. Sometimes everything takes a bit longer. Okay. Making it. So I'm applying exactly the same thing as I did before when I started troubleshooting on my own. Then I installed K8sGPT. This is done by a brew formula, so brew install K8sGPT, and everything is okay. And now, we'll make this a bit bigger, and I can do simply a K8sGPT analyze. And in the first step, I see that I have 3 problems. So the first thing is that the service has no endpoints. So the write leg service, this was because of the missing label. The second thing I have is that the front-end thing has no service. This is because it is not there. And the third thing is that the service account of the front-end service is not of the front-end pod is not existing. And I told you before, this was the easiest way to start K8sGPT, and this is without any AI integration. Yes, this is. This is so this was the easiest way we thought about how to implement such thing, and this is also the point where I say K8sGPT in its core is very dumb. So we have some codified problem patterns. We can show you them, and in the second step, we can also explain them to you. And in fact, this is where OpenAI comes into place. We take these problem messages, send them over to OpenAI, and ask them how to fix them. And in some, and we try, or we do not try, we do. Now I forgot the word. We mask the sensitive information in it. So if there is some pod information, so how the pod is called or whatever in the events or whatever we find, we mask them. and get the information in this way. So, but the important part of this is, you saw how long it took me to troubleshoot before. Now it was very easy. I get the solution, I can simply fix it, and after that, everything is okay. But we thought that this isn't enough. So, in fact, this was a simple CLI, and you don't want to start the CLI every time you are trying to find a problem. In the second step, we started to create an operator for this, which you can install in the Kubernetes cluster, and which automates this process. And this was also a thing I wanted to show you now. So let's go to the operator, make install. So also a very simple Helm chart. I applied a secret, so this is masked now. And the third thing I wanted to show you here is the manifest where you configure K8sGPT. So you can say, I want to use OpenAI as a backend. This is enabled, the language, the model, and so on. And in this case, I want to get notified via Slack. And no worries, I will remove the thing afterwards. So let's also apply this one. And what's happening now is that the operator scans for problems in the Kubernetes cluster all of the time. So it runs, I think, every 60 seconds around. And when it finds problems, it should where is my Slack thing? Okay, sometimes might be that it takes a bit. After some time, I should get some Slack notifications for them. And now I will get some information when K8sGPT finds any problems in my cluster, and also get the information on how to fix the issues. Let's give it a bit, but in the end it should work, and if not, as I told you before yesterday, it worked. Okay. One interesting part behind it, currently we are discussing in the first step to create GitHub issues if we find some problems. In the second step, we might also try to find problems in the Git repo itself, and also provide the fix via pull requests. But these are things we are discussing at the moment, and as the project evolves very fast, it might be that it comes soon or later. Now it's there. So we saw here that I got some information from the K8sGPT operator that my service doesn't have any endpoints, and how to solve it, and so on. So, at least at the moment, it's my SRE, which tells me how to fix it. In the future, it might be possible to fix it on its own. Okay, as I told you before, K8sGPT has many people contributing analyzers to it, and there are a lot. And if you find some problem patterns you could provide to K8sGPT or whatever, we are always open for contributions, and therefore the next one could be you. If you want to get in touch with the project, I'm here at the conference all of the time, so we can always talk about it. Furthermore, if you want to contribute something, contributions are always welcome. If you find some problems, and today I did not find something, you can always open issues or PRs, and we are happy to talk with you at the K8sGPT Slack. So, last but not least, what did we learn from the talk today? At first, finding simple issues in Kubernetes can get really hard. Furthermore, 2 magic words, so K8sGPT and analyze, can save you hours of troubleshooting. And a third, the project is steadily growing, so we like to hear from you. And yes, this was it from my side. I hope you enjoyed the talk. I hope you want to try out K8sGPT, and I also hope you have fun with it. Thank you.
Left for Q&A if you want, before the next talk.
Press anything or?
Yeah.
No.
Just talk? Okay, cool.
Okay.
So the overall analyzer functionality seems to be genuinely useful even for upstream kube control, right? Did you folks consider working with upstream to get the overall analyzer framework or interfaces or whatever you've put in place into that context, or are you rather focusing on keeping it under the K8sGPT umbrella?
At the moment, we are focusing on keeping it in the K8sGPT umbrella. We also handed in a sandbox proposal for K8sGPT itself, which is currently pending. But if someone would like to integrate it into upstream Kubernetes, I think nobody of us has a problem with it. And I think if there would be a request for that, we could also make it a kubectl plugin. Nothing easier than that. And therefore, just open an issue if you want.
Sounds good. Thank you. Anyone else?
Thanks. Yeah, plugin for kubectl sounds good, I think. I would like that. And I've seen on your website that you have an integration with scanners like Trivy. Are there more integrations? I'm looking especially at things like Falco for behavioral analysis. Is there anything planned?
At the moment, the only integration we have is Trivy. This is also a very nice one. So you get out the CVE and K8sGPT tells you how to fix it sometimes. For Falco and so on, I think it's only about finding people who want to write the integration, in fact. So also a funny side fact of K8sGPT, there is no company behind it which maintains it. So we are doing this in our free time, more or less. Therefore, we are also always doing what we want to do. And there is no commercial thing behind it, but there are already companies using it in production.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So time for one last question, maybe. If not, thanks a lot, Thomas, for this interesting talk.
Thank you.